today your style, I mean your work, especially the one that you see like in Liberty and things like that, it's very much illustration based. So would you consider yourself an illustrator or?
No, not at all, just an artist, but because I've always tried different techniques and different systems of working, and I've kind of systematically, I haven't sort of jumped, I've sort of systematically drawn academically, and then from that basis of drawing academically, I've learned to paint and do like fresco work and oil paintings, and then I did portraiture when I was about, I don't know, like 15 years old. That was just purely because I love drawing people. I'd get commissioned by people to draw people's, grandchildren and just parents and people. I was from a military family, so there was lots of, and I went to military boarding school, so there's lots of people that want to be drawn in medals and caps and that kind of thing. So that kind of they were like my first jobs really, being a portrait painter. But yeah, I think drawing stems from everything. But then I was like, my paintings were becoming more and more three-dimensional and sort of stripped down from I painted no backgrounds, it was just the content, sort of like, I started making sculptures. And then I did sculpture, then I wanted the sculptures to move, and then so I did that, and then I thought I want to get inside the sculptures, so I build sculptures around people. So it's quite, even though I've changed a lot of what I've done, it's quite, to me, it's very systematic. I'm going through stages of things, and then the drawing was just, it's just a kind of a great accident.
I mean, the way you talk about fine art, you make it sound very modern, very experimental, but the way a lot of people, I mean, we're graphic students, so the way that some people, it might be, just an idea because we haven't evolved, but you kind of think of fine art and you think of, like someone standing in the room and everyone's just drawing it. So, and nowadays, illustration has become a really big part of graphic design. So do you think that, illustration is it can be applied anywhere? Do you think it's...
Yeah, it can be, because it's so open, because it's so simple. It's just mark making. It can be morphed and warped into any practice really. It can be graphic. It can be advertised. It can be eye catching. It can be dramatic. Absolutely anything. It's like the content of television, or it's so vast the way it can change, because it's so simple. It doesn't really contain many elements really. It doesn't matter what you use, it's a flat surface and you're using something to make marks on it. And that simplicity, opens it up to become anything in really. But the crossovers into graphics and illustrators, I think it's always existed. It just goes in and out of people noticing it's crossing over probably.
So there's this big sort of thing that I always question, is that nowadays that everyone kind of gets their hands on a camera. It's so easy just to photograph everything. And do you feel like illustrators and whatnot are kind of dying out because you're getting a bit lazy to take that time, and it's so much easier?
I kind of do the same. I remember drawing, and as soon as I got a camera, it was a bit like I started photographing things instead of, whereas previously I would have sketched them. But then I sort of noticed that there was what was the point of that in a way, because it's that the camera doesn't filter through your brain. It's just, you're just pressing a button and capturing it, like catching a butterfly. That's it. It's like if you draw it, it's kind of going through your eyes, through your brain, down your arm, onto something, and then odd things happen, like you record it in a different way, or I don't know, it's that's the interesting part of the way it goes. Or even on your page where you have like Leonardo da Vinci sort of layout of different things all on the same page, and you think, wow, that suddenly works with that, or that relates with that, so it's all those accidents of things which photography doesn't kind of always allow. But I guess people play with the photograph, play with it on their computer. It's once it's onto a place and you're adapting, I suppose that's the same kind of playfulness, isn't it?
Going back just towards CSM, is there anything that you remember that really is stuck in your brain when you think of CSM? Is there an experience you had, or something that happened to someone or something?
I loved. My initial reaction was like how many the sort of how many different types of people and people from different countries. It's so international. I think that's. I don't know if it's. I suppose it's a London thing, but I don't know if it's a particular St Martin's thing that's exaggerated. I don't really know, but because of that openness that I see about it, maybe that attracts people from different kind of practices. But seeing like a Japanese girl folding tiny bits of paper and sticking it to the wall, and seeing a Spanish person like I don't know, it's kind of like a bit like stereotypes of nationalities doing things, and but really fascinating seeing how everyone works, because you kind of expect to turn up and see everyone like drawing and sculpting and doing all the things that you're used to. So that was, I think, my initial thing I thought was amazing. Kind of the tutors, their experience of living as an artist and that kind of thing was good. I loved the building because it was in the, I don't know if you ever went there, but the building was wonderful. Especially the fine art building, it was really big open rooms and lots of light. A lot. I haven't seen the new one. And then I think it must have been a theatre or something maybe initially, because it had the room that we were in had a huge stage on one side of it as well. So it was like, you could imagine rows of chairs, and the stage was all intact, with steps going up, and so that was a really great space to play with, because that's why I started doing like Houdini style of performances on that stage, because there's a stage and you just look at it and think, well, geez, we should do something fun with it. Yeah, so we should do it. So I did one with, it was like a bowl, so I walking through Soho, and I looked down an alleyway and I found a huge perspex. I wish I'd kept it, I don't know what to do with it. It was like semi-sphere, and it was in like clear perspex. It was absolutely huge. It was like 2 or 3 meters across. It was amazing. And so I carried it back, and then I sort of looked at what could I do with it, and I built a huge wooden tower with it on the top, and filled it full of like blue dyed water, with a spotlight under it, I think, so it kind of glows, and I thought that's quite cool. And then I was like, what should I do with it next? And then I built a duck, a huge like chicken wire duck, paper mache duck, and then I climbed inside the duck upside down, so my legs were sticking out the back and folded up like wings, and then my hands I could be dropped into the pool and I could paddle around like upside down. It was kind of like, what is the most ridiculous thing I think of at the time? And then it turned into, if I couldn't really get into it very easily, so they made a stretcher, and I had to be lifted into it and dropped into it. So then I realised I'm actually locked into it upside down, so it's like becomes really dangerous. So then I had like a secret pipe sort of going out of my mouth with like an old snorkel tube thing, goes down my shirt. And we did it into like a performance. So that's what I was kind of getting known for then. I did it on MTV and lots of things, because it was like Houdini things, but because it was in an art environment, you could make it look like it was going really wrong. And so it was like every time I died at the end of it, so I start panicking and bashing the thing, and then I stop, and I'm floating, and I tell all my friends that are helping me that it's all gone wrong, and they start panicking, and then the curtains close. So we did like series of those, and it was like that was really fun. And then I got to a point where I was doing things, and everyone was like going, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And I kind of got to a point where I was like, it's becoming like it's too jokey, really. It's too like the stereotype of an art of like poking fun at things and being silly, really, and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of like, I think I've used that up like another system of working. I feel like I've taken it to its absolute like limits, and then I became really serious the next year of my working. So I started doing these wire sculptures, which I found so the technician that was there, I don't know if he's still there, I can't remember what his name was, but he was there in the metal workshop when Anthony Caro was there, and lots of all that movement in the 70s were amazing people, and he assisted them welding and things like this, and there was a load of wire in his workshop, so I started chopping it up and tying it together, and sort of sitting in that room. It's like a dark, welding workshop, it sort of went from being colourful and extravagant to being stripping down everything and being very minimal and cold and empty and those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of like big changes kind of there, I think. Yeah.
And do you remember any of those one-liners? The one that stuck
Yeah, I'm
with you?
trying to think. Probably things like I'm trying to think of exactly what it was. It's more things like, I remember the first one probably because I was like fiddling about too much, and it was like, just get on with it, just move it, don't just, push it a little bit this way, push it that way, grab it, move it, change it, that kind of description of working. I think that I remember someone saying that, and then just walk out and just go, going, okay, I'll try it, and that's definitely, it's like a kind of confident affecting of whatever you're doing. You just something about not talking about ideas, do ideas, something like that. It was, which I noticed a lot of students around me. Yeah, it's lucky if you know what you want to do, but there's a lot of people stood around drinking loads of coffee, going, I don't know what to do. And it was, I think definitely more people should have said, look, like now, that's what I say to students now. I'm like, just pick anything up, just do anything, just start doing something, and you'll start your journey, and it's I think if you sit thinking about it, you can get yourself like a writer's block kind of effect. I think you will pick up something, you will read a book, you'll be drawn to the things that you're interested in, and you have to have that go with the flow kind of attitude, I think, which would have probably helped a lot of people at the time, I think. Only being wise and old now, I realise that.
Okay. And is there one kind of, to sum up, a general kind of advice or something you would give to students who are graduating or in the BA, anything that they can take away from?
Yeah, I think I suppose getting involved in those, putting yourself in those environments, the creative environments that you probably feel like you want to be in yourself.
Yeah.
Again, that's something I didn't do, but that was because I was sort of travelling, and but I can see now from speaking to friends that that worked with well-known artists in their studios and things, and seeing how it works, or working in a gallery, or it's in a advertisement. Once you're in that environment, you can see how it works. You can see the structuring of it, and you might be aware that there's actually a different job that you didn't know existed that you would actually rather do. But you've got to, especially in London, you've got to try and just drop yourself in the right pool of people that you.